Ice is Patrol West. So a good majority of our crimes are down. Auto 22%. We went from 30 down to 19. That's over the last 30 days. Robberies are down 63%. We went from 8 down to 3. We went from 27 to 26. Larcenies from auto are down 3%. Aggravated assaults are down 14%. We went from 36 down to 31. Our arrests, unfortunately, are also down. We went from 51 arrests down to 46 arrests. Weeks ago, officers decided we were going to go and kind of go on patrol looking for the unhoused. Officers over the weekend found and contacted over 700 people to offer them services, whether it's, hey, do you guys need a ride to the shelter? Are you guys good? Do you guys need anything else? I don't remember the exact number, but they're like roughly half of them accepted a ride to the shelter. So, and then next month on March 7th, we have the polar plunge. So there's gonna be a lot of officers out there. Hopefully again this year, I hope it cools off a little bit. Because I personally like the cold weather, especially jumping in that, but it's probably gonna warm up, so which is good too, I guess. So.
And Officer Ice, one thing we got going on at Patrol West, we have Second Chance Thursday coming up next month on March 26th. It's going to be at the Carl Brewer Community Center. So if you guys know of anyone that needs help with traffic warrants, driver's license being suspended, you can send them our way. We'd love to assist them on that. We have a recruit class that graduated about a month. We got them in FTO train right now, so you'll probably see a few officers out on the street between all the bureaus and everything. If you see them, please say hi. I think all the bureaus posted their photos, so you kind of have an idea of where they're at in the bureau pages.
On that polar plunge, what is that about?
So the polar plunge is for Kansas Law Enforcement Torch Run for the Special Olympics. The law enforcement torch run started with Wichita Police Department in 1981. We had 6 officers and a chief who decided to run and raise money for the Special Olympics. So that's what all the proceeds go to that, and we get the opportunity to jump in really, really, really cold water. So it's supposed to be good for you.
I was gonna say, you guys,
It's like I felt great afterwards. So if you want to go to Kansas Law Enforcement Torch Run, and there's a link on there. I don't have the link off. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
thank you.
Kelly. I'm the branch manager here at the Evergreen Library and the street at the Angelo Library. And as always, we've got some exciting updates for you this week. So at the beginning of last week, we it's a partnership with the Wichita Genealogical Society, and basically what it is there are workstations set up, film, cassette tapes, things where you can like convert VHS tapes to DVDs. So if you have like memories or documents or photos saved on some of that old technology, you can update it, digitize it. And it is all free. So there's 2 reservable workstations that can. And it is self-directed, so you just come and use the equipment, but there's instructions there for you. And then we also have volunteers and staff who can help answer your questions and get you started. Additionally, so this is an announcement that is libraries across the country. So the American Library Association this year partnered to bring Pokemon programming to libraries across America. So if you have kids in your life, you know that for one of the most popular franchises, and kids love it, and adults who were kids love it. And so we're excited to be doing Pokemon programming this spring. So most of the programs are going to take place at the Advanced Learning Library. The first event is at the end of this month on Saturday, February 28th from 1:30 to 3:30. There's going to be crafts, card games. There's going to be all kinds of like puzzle solving, collaborative gameplay. So it's to encourage kids to work together and build skills in problem solving, math and reading, communication, teamwork. And so those events will start at the end of the month, and then they'll be ongoing through the spring. We also, 40 years, the Wichita Public Library has shown the Academy Award shorts. So the short films that are Oscar nominated, you can come to the library and watch those films. This year, we're partnering with Boulevard Theaters in Old Town for all-day showings on Saturday 7th. You can go watch them there. And then the following week, we're going to have the showings at the branches. So the one at Evergreen is going to be on Saturday, March 14th from 3 to 5:45. There's 15 short films that are going to be shown this year. A big change that our staff are super excited about that is going into effect on March 2nd is that the library is. So over the course of the time that I've been here, which has been about a year and a half, and then even before that, Wichita Public Library has been trying to be more accessible and to remove some of the financial barriers that we had. We have, for example, we've eliminated processing fees when you damage something. We've eliminated overdue fees. And so what that has resulted in is that staff not taking in very much money. We have money trays that we count and recount and recount and recount all throughout the day because we're following city money handling practices. So we've decided that we're going to eliminate the machines at the front desks at all of the libraries. So we'll still have credit card machines and coin copiers. You can still pay for prints and copies that way. And we'll still have the self-check machine. So a book and you have to pay for it or something like that. Our self-check machines, you can pay for them. It takes everything, cash, credit card, debit card. You can also go online to our website and pay any fees that you have through the website as well. So that you'll be aware, and as we transition to that, staff are happy to show you how to use any of the machines that you haven't used to take your payment for your copies and any fees that you've got on your library card account. And then, as always, we'll conclude with our update. So we've got some fun things coming up, especially at the Evergreen branch. This week is for us. So we have 3 Valentine's Day that we're offering this week for 3 different age groups. So we have a teen program on Thursday, February 12th from 3 to 4. It's called My Funny Valentine. Attendees are going to be that's going to be a great program for them. For our preschoolers to grade 5, tea party. If anybody came last year, that was one of our big fun events that we did. There will be a live dinosaur at the T-Rex tea parties. That'll be a lot of fun. It's one of our third place programs throughout the system. It's going to be an ArtFlix program, so we'll be screening 13 going on 30. And then we will have some crafts. In particular, we're going to have these mini clay pots that people can paint, and we've got and soil that if you come, you'll get the plant and that you can decorate the pot. So those are some of the things that we're doing at Evergreen. Evergreen has also started a chess program, hosting once per month on Thursday nights. It's called Checkmate at the Library. The library provides all of the chess boards, and so community members are invited to just come and play chess with people in the community. So if you have any, that's Thursday evenings. The Advanced Learning Library is having a Lunar New Year celebration, so they're partnering with Wichita Asian Association and East High's Lion Dance Club. So they're gonna come out and do a big event. That is gonna be on Sunday, February 15th from 2 to 3. And then a few other things, lots of stuff going. We have a spring book buzz program that's happening. Where we're gonna be talking about all of the hot new titles that are being published in March, April, May, and then a couple in the summer. So you can just be aware and add to your holds list, be one of the first people to, be on the holds list and get your books faster. And then we also have we've been doing this for a bit. I'm not sure if I mentioned this before, but our children's library here at Evergreen has partnered with the WS, what we're calling bilingual STEM stores. Company with a craft of some kind. And the crafts are more advanced crafts that are teaching kids about science, technology, engineering, and math. So we do have one coming up. It's going to be on Tuesday, March 3rd. So before our next meeting from 6 to 7. So if you have great program for them. That's all I've got for you tonight. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Thank you.
Pulling in, then we got a call.
Last month you got a call.
Yeah, we did. Bachelor with Fire Station 7 over there off the Coolidge, just behind the car wash, for those of you that haven't seen here. We don't have really a lot this month. Something we've kind of had an uptick in carbon monoxide alarms. So it's obviously something good to have in your house. You'll do the same thing that you do with your smoke detectors, replace the batteries every 6 months. If your carbon monoxide alarm does go off, we do encourage you to call us. Even if you don't know why it's going off, sometimes it could be a low battery, it could be out of date. But we recommend to call us. Some of the symptoms, if you guys do have carbon monoxide in your house, would be headache, nausea. Usually we start to see those symptoms after you've been in that environment for a prolonged amount of time. But irregardless, if you do have a carbon monoxide alarm that goes off, give us a call, go outside, get some fresh air. One thing that can set them off is if you start your vehicle in the morning in your garage, even if you crack your garage door open, those fumes can still make their way into the house. So our recommendation would be to move your vehicle outside of the garage if you're going to try and warm it up, or don't do it at all. The other thing that I have is, I think I talked about it last time too. There are several, and one that we learned of today, more vacant properties. So maybe kind of think of the area where you guys live. If you have any vacant homes and you see some movement in and out of those homes, maybe somebody that's not familiar, you can call a non-emergency line. They can come check it out. We can't legally, the fire department can't do anything unless it turns into something that the fire department needs to handle, but contact the non-emergency line and give them a heads up, and then PD will come out and do their job. With that, outside of that, fire department wise, we have our swim test for the rescue teams on Thursday. I kind of talked about it last time, so I'm on the rescue team for the fire department, so any dive calls that we make, that's why we have to take a swim team or a swim test every year.
What is that require?
So the test itself, we have to do a 500-meter free swim, and we do it at the Wichita Swim Club, which is all the way on the east side. We do a 500-meter free swim, which is no fins, and there's a time frame that you have to meet. You get so many points for 10 minutes, you get 5 points. If you're under 12 minutes, you get 4 points, and then so on. After we do that, we have an 800-meter fin swim, because when we dive, we have fins. Trying to say it's harder to swim with fins. Okay, I hate swimming with fins, but we have to do an 800-meter fin swim, and then we have to do a 15-minute float. So to float in the water, whether you're treading water, you do the dead man's float for 13 minutes. In the last 2 minutes, we have to have our hands out of water. So you can float or you can be like dog paddling, waiting for those 2 minutes to go by. We have to do a dive down 12 feet, pick up an item and bring it back up. Usually it's like a weighted kettlebell or a dumbbell. And then we have to do a buddy check. And saber and dive gear, and we have to go down and back, and I think it's a 200 meters is what, so I have to tow him, and so that kind of mimics a diver that's down essentially, or that maybe came up and is having some type of issue, whether it's with his dive gear or he became unconscious, so that would simulate me towing him back to the bank. I think that's all of it. Yeah, there's like five or six things that you have to pass, and you have to get so many points in each category to pass. If you don't pass, it's gonna take you out of dive status, which means you're not a diver. You don't pass that. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
She was more.
I'm not a swimmer. I can swim, just like anybody else can go swim. But when I got on the job, I knew that I wanted to be on the rescue team because they get to do all the cool stuff. So when they came for rescue tryouts, I swam for a full year because I knew the marks that I had to hit. And to get on the team, you have to do a different test than what our annual test was. But I knew that I wasn't going to be told no, or that I wasn't going to pass because I wasn't prepared, and so I swam and sand, and I had no issues getting on. And since we didn't always have a swim test, this is something that we kind of initiated probably 4 years ago, just because there are certain standards, that our guys are safe, our men and women that are getting in the water are safe, and it's kind of a guideline, to make sure that you're ready. So yes, I'm ready. Yeah.
Possibly, the person that you're towing,
Mhm.
do you get to inflate their VCD?
Yes, absolutely. Are you kidding? Yeah. Yeah, no, we don't drop the weights, but we definitely, and it's funny because I'm one of the smaller, shorter stature, and usually I get paired up with the tallest guy, right? And so you have a swim lane and you have to go down and you have to turn. So he's 6'2", I think. So he has to ball up in order for me to be able to turn him. But yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, any other questions?
Good luck.
No? Yeah, thank you. All right, you guys, have a good night.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Long on.
Of this agenda, we had no scheduled items for this month. Do we have anybody present who would like to speak on an item that is not listed as part of the agenda? Go ahead. First and last name and address for the record, and then you have 5 minutes.
Hello, I'm Christina Flagg Jackson, and 2307 North Inwood Circle, 67226. So I'm actually 21st and Rock Road, but my mom lives at 18th and Waco, and Grandma and Grandpa did, and I lived at 20th and Waco and at St. Patrick's. So my biggest issue is coming back and forth from east to west. So that's part of what I'm talking about. But my thing is about primarily right now Broadway and how it's 3 lanes. And I'm wondering how many of you think of yourself, especially even like at 5:15, when I had to come over here, seeing bicyclists using the bike lanes from 13th to 21st Street. How often do you actually see someone using those strike lanes in the street? Or are they on the sidewalk, or, there's other places that you can bicycle, but. And then how often have you found yourself sitting in traffic, especially if it's, there's a train and you have to go down Mosley, which is, can be backed up 6 blocks, and then, 13, and then you turn to go on Broadway and it can be backed up that entire mile. 17th Street, you go there, you still have a hard time turning right at that green light because the traffic is backed up from 21st, because people can't spread out to get in the left to turn left or in the right lane to go forward. And so you're sitting there and a lot of people, I've done it, is I go straight and I go, down 17th Street and then I go on Waco. So all this is adding more traffic to our neighborhoods, which is not a safe thing. We're adding more traffic. Right now, Waco gets, and I know this because of surveys, 8,000 to 10,000 cars a day. It's not considered an arterial street, but there isn't one from here from Broadway to Hampton. But, so the sidewalks don't get fixed like an arterial street, but it gets used like one, emergency cleaning and stuff. And it got turned into that 3-lane road because they said it was safer. Oh, it's another, so anyway. It's an artificial thing right now, the traffic jams. And the whole idea they said was to slow down traffic to make it safer for bicycles. But they're not following federal guidelines. They're not following the guideline that the consultants they hired, the city hired, said, do not use bicycle lanes with stripes. People don't use them. 4% of experienced bicyclists use them. But in all the surveys since 2017, every single person said, I will not use bicycle lanes on streets with stripes. But the city did it anyway. They get federal funding for it. That's one reason, and it slows down traffic. However, I don't know what you guys, 2.5 years I've lived here since moving back from Florida. I've experienced some situations on 3-lane roads. Mom and I were backing out December 5th from her street on Waco when a guy came up behind us, because they're going like, 60 miles an hour down that street now, because there's nothing to stop them, because they know no one's turning in front of them. They get in the turn lane and you can go to drag lane. And this guy came up behind us quickly, flashing his lights, honking his horn, swerving. And I'm like, automatically, I don't want him passing me. So I kind of get over some, like, don't pass me. And he keeps roaring his horn. And then I'm like, fine, he passes us. And then he slams on his brakes when he gets in front of me. We call 911. We had his license plate. So then at 21st in Waco, he refused to turn on the green light. And a couple right behind us, got into the oncoming traffic lane there and turned so they could turn left. And then the guy turned left on a red light. But this is what happens when you have these 3-lane roads. They cause a lot of people to get angry. And, cars were still parked on that street. People go a lot slower. They're not going 50 or 60 because they don't want to hit their cars. They don't want to mess up their cars. But on Broadway, 37th Street is a 3-lane road. They did it too. And I was behind a car who was like a Corvette who was late at night. He started going to 35 to 30 to 25. And I'm like, okay, I'll pass him, turn on my blinker. He started speeding up to probably about 50 or 60. And I'm automatically trying to speed up to, because I'm thinking I'm going to pass the guy. And I'm like, crap, he's trying to drag race me. And I had to slow down and I get behind him. He slams on his brakes. So in 2.5 years, and there's another one I can't remember, but there's been 3 issues I've had on these 3-lane roads where people, there's road rage, they want to go around you. I don't know how many of you have been on McLean where people have gone around you in the turn lane. Yeah, I see several saying yes. That one was, another one. So these 3-lane roads, especially when a lot of us think we're doing it to help bicyclists, but we're not. They're not the safest thing for bicyclists. There's alternate routes. There's barriers, physical barriers. There's a lot of other things that the federal guidelines and the city's own consultants said to do that the bicycle board refused.
Christina, your time is up.
Okay, so advisory board, you guys are a lot more powerful than you think. I mean, we've had one-on-one with this, and what I heard is nobody complained to us, and the bicycle board says we've taken it to every advisory board, and no one said anything. They're all happy with it. By the way, it's supposed to be temporary, but because no one complained, no citizens complained, they said they're wanting to make it permanent and go from Douglas to 21st Street now, and it will be every single street. 21st, Central, 13th will be 1 lane. That's the bicycle advisory board saying. Every single street. Central 13th, 21st, 29th. They're doing it 17th, and then Rock, Webb, Hammond, they'll all be one lane each way. We're gonna take from 2 lanes each way to 1 lane. And that's the plan of the bicycle board. And with Broadway being approved, they're just keep going and going and going.
Is there,
There's some on Broadway.
They've been there, they've been on Market and Main for years and years, and that's what the federal guidelines suggest to do, is to have alternate routes on quieter streets. And we have that. For some reason, they chose to put these 2 stripes on Broadway from 13th to 21st. But now they're gonna plan on doing it from Douglas to 21st, put bicycle lanes.
Christina, your time is up.
Oh, I was just answering this question. Yeah, so, yeah. But you guys have more power than you think. I just want you to know that.
Anybody else present to speak on public agenda? All right, go ahead. You have 5 minutes. If you want to state your first and last name for the record, please.
Hello, everybody, by the way. William Glander. I live at 235 North Elizabeth in Wichita, Kansas. And I am kind of piggybacking off of what she said. I work heavy duty equipment in this city, and those streets are very unsafe for being able to work on infrastructure. That is one big issue that I see the city is failing at when they go to the streets like that. They don't think about the guys that gotta work on the infrastructure. They don't think about what kind of equipment got to be put. You gotta have enough space so people can work on it safely, because we have a budget in the city that you can't shut down every single street. And it's about 15, 20 minutes to clean that structure right there. Well, if I gotta have a crew behind me guiding traffic, that's a lot more money that the city is spending. So we need wider streets. So I'm going to use Douglas's suggestion right there where East High is. Instead of making it into 3 lanes, keep it as 4 lanes, but try to have like a center lane for traffic to go. But with the bike lanes and stuff like that, you know how on the highway we got the far right-hand lane for slower moving traffic. Try to implement something like that. So that way, whenever they're, because you'll have a structure sometimes in the middle of the street and sometimes right here on the curb. So when you make those down to 3 lanes, sometimes you got to take up both lanes. Or I'm going to also use an area where there's roads like this, but there's a median in the middle. We can't even work on those structures because there's a median in the middle. So you got issues right there getting ready to start, and that could be big problems. So what we need is someone that, like me, that can speak up, and I'm finally speaking up. I finally got time to get here and speak up about that. That is one issue of why our infrastructure in the city is failing, because failure to be able to keep it up. Hire a contractor, they bury the infrastructure, and then we got to go back and find it, and that's just time wasted. Does anybody have any questions? By the way, on one of those streets, I did get sideswiped by a vehicle. Say those 3 lanes are not safe.
Did you tell?
Oh, yeah. It wasn't like I got hit hard, but it was, I seen it coming, so I was able to move and lightly got grazed by it. But thank you.
Else would like to speak on an off-agenda item this evening? With that, Councilmember Ballard, I'll turn it over to you for new business.
Triple 070. Hey everyone, I'm Christina Reed with planning staff. The applicant for this case is requesting a zone change from single family to multifamily, specifically called MF 29. They also proposed a protective overlay to go with this zone change. It's a little bit under half an acre in size, and it's near central.
indicated that they intend to use this site for multifamily development to construct a 12-plex apartment building on site. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the protective overlay, which starts on, let's see. So the density, the maximum density that you can have. So they incorporated that into the protective overlay. And the maximum building height is 35 feet in this protective overlay, which is the same for single family zoning. And some stipulations on building orientation and access, as well as setbacks. Building footprint cannot exceed 180 feet in length. Where landscaping and exterior materials, so they put some thought into the architectural standards for what they're proposing here. In terms of the development standards, that's listed on the table in your staff report on page 2. So normally for screening, they require a 6 to 8 foot solid fence. We're abutting 2 family or more restricted zoning. And then a landscape buffer, if approved, would be along the north and east property lines, as well as a landscape street yard and parking lot screening, because I think they intend to have more than 20 parking spaces. Compatibility standards into account. So basically, compatibility standards, what they entail is to prevent a really tall building from being next to a shorter building, or for it to be too close to a shorter building. And so that applies because it is MF29 zoning. They have to adhere to all parking requirements that are in section 4A of the Unified Zoning Code, which is 1.25 parking stalls per efficiency in 1-bedroom unit and 1.75 stalls per 2-bedroom or larger units. The proposed protective overlay also limits the use of the property to just residential uses. In certain instances, there's multifamily zoning, they allow for certain commercial, it's like, cell phone towers or, major utilities, but that is going to be prohibited in this proposed protective overlay. So the character of the neighborhood here is a mix between residential and commercial. And to the north, we have a single family dwelling. To the east, we have a single family dwelling, but to the south, we have limited commercial district zoning. There's no zoning cases associated with it. And so the requested zone change is in conformance with the community investments plan. A small portion indicates the site is appropriate for residential uses, but also it's primarily approved for new employment uses. So this one is like areas that will be developed or redeveloped by 2035 with manufacturing, warehousing, distribution, construction, research. But the site is appropriate for both residential and commercial uses according to the plan. Like I said, limited commercial zoning. So we're seeing kind of a transition between the single family, the proposed 12-plex, and then the limited commercial zoning. Locational guidelines, like I said, higher density residential uses and neighborhood serving retail should buffer lower density residential uses from major commercial and employment centers and industrial uses. The requested zone change is in conformance with the goals of the Wichita Places for People plan. To create walkable places within Wichita. And strategy 5 is to provide a diversity of housing options to attract new residents and allow existing to remain in the established area. That is contextual into the environment in which it is occurring. So staff is recommending approval of the zone change request with the protective overlay. And this is based on the golden factors which are listed in your staff report. January 29th, and they did recommend approval for that. So with that, we'll go to some of the site photos. Here we have the zoning. Everything that you see in red here along Central Avenue is zoned commercial. And then everything that is in white is single family residential. Some of the site photos. And with that, I will stand for any questions.
Any questions?
And one comment I'll continue to repeat. The question I have is relative to the protective overlay.
Yes.
Bullet number, or item number 9, it's the third bullet. I'm a little concerned that it just says pitched composite shingle roof design.
Mhm.
As you're probably aware, we've taken to adopting a requirement that says it would be gable or pitched roof. And
Cable or hip.
yeah, I'm sorry. And so what I'm a little concerned here is this could end up being a single pitch roof.
Okay.
Is anybody here that can answer that?
I don't know if the applicant is able to make it tonight. We've been in communication. I don't know if he's online right now. Do you see him online?
I don't see, I have a
So
phone number.
just so you're aware, when the motion comes up, I'm going to request that get changed.
Okay.
Now, my general comment, and it's the wave of what's coming, and we need more housing, I understand that. But I'm really concerned about the area. I'm gonna globalize it and call it Hoover's Orchard. But from West Street to 235, 13th Street to at least Central, probably Douglas, we're seeing more and more zoning change requests coming in for condensed housing on existing residential lots. And my concern is we're reducing the footprint for people to interact, for people to socialize, albeit parks, recreation areas. And I'm going to suggest to you that the city needs to start figuring out how the increased revenue they're going to get off this more dense housing, they can collect the funding through taxes and be able to provide more common green area, because we're erasing green area for residents. And I can guarantee you, without having any statistics, that our friends in WPD are going to have an increased load as opportunities, especially for younger people, get outside, release some energy, become non-existent.
Yep.
So that's my comment. I'm going to share it with you every time.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
The same thought, this is just a few blocks away from the Orchard Recreation Center, so I agree that that area is like. Well, if that area is just south of my neighborhood, that is a lot better.
A little bit they're asking for a more restrictive setback.
No, it is not. Design standards that they have in mind.
Sorry. Is that an apartment complex to the south? Is this all warehouses?
No, I was not getting a site plan.
Parking spaces are they gonna try and put in?
Well, I mean, just doing the math, we're gonna do, if it's a 12-plex unit, 1.25 per one-bedroom or studio, and 1.75 parking spaces per two-bedroom or larger. I anticipate it being over 20 parking spots, and if it's over 20 parking spots, they are required to do landscaping within the parking lot.
Just from the deck.
Have there been any public comments?
No, I have not heard of any public comment.
This applicant developed anything in that area? Do you know?
Not that I couldn't tell you where.
Christina, what is the name of the applicant?
His name is Brandon Large.
Questions? Yeah.
Christina?
I have one. Would you be kind enough to repeat it was early on as you were speaking about the different heights of the buildings and would you repeat that,
Yes,
please?
so we have a policy, or we have something called zoning code called compatibility standards. So buildings that are next to residents that are zone 2 family or single family, if they are next to those, they can only be so tall and they can only be so close to the property line. So we have compatibility height standards, so if your building is next to a duplex or single family home, it has to be shorter. And then it has to be farther away than what the minimum setback is.
Yes, but then you said because it's a something, it falls within that parameter.
Yes,
Is
so
that-
this, yeah, this is for properties that are MF 18 or less restrictive. So MF 18 stands for multifamily. So essentially, if it's a multifamily building, it can only be so tall and it can only be so close to the property line.
So I'm going to go off kind of what Bill said. Whenever you guys have rezoning and have them build these, I'm going to call it massive apartments. Is there a way we can make them where we keep enough greenery space so that way when we do get heavy rains and water, that we have enough, I'm trying to phrase it the right way, enough ground and enough green soil to be able to soak the water in, because whenever you pave something over, you're taking away that, and now you're putting that water out on the streets to where they could either flood a house and flood stuff. So we need more dirt soils than we do need concrete.
So there is a protective overlay here, and the DAB has the option to modify the protective overlay to include more landscaping or to increase the setbacks that are already there. So that would result in more.
Yeah, because being out there doing it, I see areas, the reason why they flood is because they don't have enough dirt space for the water to be able to soak into the soil. So that's why a lot of places flood.
Okay.
Questions, or would anyone like to entertain a motion?
So I assume that the planning department approved this, they didn't have a site plan either.
No, we did not.
But it did approve it.
The planning commission, it's actually a consent item, so.
So I make a motion that we approve the recommendation with a change to the protective overlay. Bullet 3 on item 9. We word that such that it restricts it to either a gable or hip roof.
Is there a second?
I'll say that.
Second by Tom. Favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? One.
Aye. What got your attention?
I think that it's without a site plan in mind, this sounds impractical. And we're not here to critique people's designs, because that's not where design of land use, and I don't think the use is necessarily appropriate. However, it seems to me as though the owner, there's part of the overlay where they have to stick to the only rolled them back from, so I think someone proposed an 8-plex and we rolled them back to a 4. Now this guy is gonna try and do a dozen. I don't, that's this,
Square foot units.
which, not that there isn't a need in the community, but I am concerned about, I think, for multifamily, especially being the buffer between single family and the warehouse down below. This might necessarily feel comfortable.
Councilmember Ballard, what was the vote? Was it 6-1? 5-1.
I can count, sorry. See the second zoning case, 2025-0071.
All right, so the applicant for this case is requesting a zone change from single family to multifamily. This is MF 18. And basically, the way that it works in the zoning code is MF 29 from the previous case means 29 dwelling units per acre. This one means 17.4, which it's currently undeveloped. The site has been vacant since 23. I've noticed that there was a house that was there back in 22 that was demolished. The applicant changed to allow for multifamily residential development on site. So there would be a maximum of 5 dwelling units on site. And then the requested zone change would permit more uses on site, so we have multifamily development. The development standards would change as well, and that's listed in the table in your staff report. The Unified Zoning Code requires compatibility standards that we talked about before. I mentioned parking requirements. They're the same for multifamily for the previous case and for this case. And then screening and landscaping are required. The character of the neighborhood is residential. To the south and west, we have SF5, or sorry, to the north and west, we have SF5. Nope, I read that wrong. To the south and west are zoned SF5 and developed with single family dwellings. To the north is zoned general office and developed with duplexes. And then to the east is the Arkansas River. There are no zoning cases associated with this property. And with the community investments plan. The 2035 future growth concept map recommends a site as appropriate for residential uses. So that includes single family homes, patio homes, duplexes, townhouses, apartments, and multifamily units. The locational guidelines from the community investments plan. One of the guidelines states that small neighborhoods serving retail and office uses and high density residential uses not located at arterial intersections should be limited to the intersection of an arterial and a collector street. And then accessory dwelling units, duplexes, and small scale multifamily developments can be appropriate in existing residential areas if appropriate site design limits adverse impacts on surrounding residential uses. The Wichita Places for People plan, the zone change, the requested zone change is in conformance with that. And planning staff is recommending approval of the zone change request based on the golden factors. At the time that I prepared the staff report, I did not receive any comment. This did go to the Metropolitan Area Planning Commission on January 29th, and there was, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people who spoke during the Metropolitan Area Planning Commission meeting. I believe I see some folks now, and I'll let them elaborate. Their concerns were considering noise, traffic, parking, height requirements, privacy, the character of the neighborhood, and on house during construction. So with that, I will go to some of the site photos. So this is the zoning map here. Everything in green is zoned general office, red is limited commercial, and then pink is single family residential. This is the future growth concept map, identifying it as appropriate for residential. And then these are the site photos. Dan, for any questions? Any questions from the dad?
Those beautiful buildings, built with a single pitch roof.
I
Also forever heartburn. Questions from the dad before we go out to public?
Just maybe to clarify the idea is like, Shaggy, do we know if it's, the idea is kind of the similar concept to those?
So I'm not sure if the applicant is online for this one. I did send him the link to this. But during the planning commission meeting, he indicated there would only be 4 on site, 4 units. There's a maximum of 5 allowed, but he
Question, but did traffic or anybody look at this? Because as a single family, cars a day running in and out of a piece of property. With a 4-unit item and being that close to a major intersection, there's gonna be more traffic trying to get on and off of the plane. Did traffic look at this at all?
Not to my knowledge.
Or if you,
Not sure. Sure if they're appropriate for this venue.
You need a filter?
Usually.
Clarification, is MF18 the most restrictive that multifamily zoning could be 4 units, or why this one in particular?
Yes. 18 is the most restrictive zoning classification that allows for multifamily. Technically, in TF3, you can do a conditional use for multifamily zoning. I think you guys had a case on that a couple of months ago, but by right, it would be MF18.
Councilmember Ballard, we do have the applicant for this case via Teams.
Great.
Great.
I kind of share Bill's concern about the traffic a bit. I'm just kind of curious.
Close to the intersection also.
Yeah, and it seems a little.
Sure.
Unless you're comfortable waiting, I mean, because I get out on McLean on 15th, and that's the next out of my neighborhood. For a couple minutes, but at least down there, they've got the turn lane that makes it a little easier getting. Versus, 4 lanes and hoping that which lane they're in the right way.
Yeah, we're super concerned about it. Similar amounts of additional traffic would have been incurred because of those
Yeah, but they're-
apartments.
They're, if you look at the site map, the egress for that, those existing units is further down on 13th Street. It's not gonna end up right there, coming around that bend.
Yeah, there's no entrance to.
I mean, I see pretty similar. I mean, it's not that much closer to the intersection. Super convinced that would be.
But I want to give Dab a chance first. Which one do you want to? We'll open it up to the public.
For those who aren't familiar, was a building on this, it was very clearly 1359 North McLean. If you ever want to look some things up, extensive WPD history and extensive NABCD history at the location. Specifically, Christine, all she could do was look at aerial photos. I was standing there on August 19th, 2022, when this house was demolished, because MAPCD had neglected their job for over 10 years. They said things and they never did. And it literally took WPD pulling a body out of the house before they go, oh yeah, we were gonna demolish that. So it's a bit disingenuous. I know we don't have a crystal ball. I know we don't have a flux capacitor. We can't go back and change that, but I will hold you and the entire council accountable. Sure that we never do this again by destroying a wonderful single family home and then having it be a vacant lot and then eventually we can do that. This to be our example, we can do that. Christina, just a question on page 5. We have what I believe is a yellow property line that is very much away from the edge of the road. So my understanding is that this being MF18, they're going to have to do a 35 foot front or 25 foot front setback from that property line. Is that correct? So if we're going to have it this far away from it, you should have another hint towards the applicant. This should have a sidewalk on it. They're going to be encouraged to walk McLean. I think the applicant should start the McLean sidewalk at their property to encourage their residents to say, hey, you can get a lot of ways to walk here, but if they're not gonna have a sidewalk there. Go toe to toe with both MAPCD and a WPD to say, you're allowed to walk on that property along McLean, outside of the property lines, and they were going. But not least, I'd encourage the applicant, site plans are a wonderful thing. It lets us grab onto the concept of what you're doing, knowing that this particular applicant and the buildings that they've done in my neighborhood. If any of you can visualize an opportunity to drove by McLean and Meridian, this is just south of, McLean and Maple, just 2 doors south of Maple on the east side of the street. That's the types of buildings they've been doing. About 6 months ago, somebody ran a car into one of them, so they had to evacuate. But I want to make sure that it's built in a way that there's good egress, good egress. Any questions?
You would like to speak. Thank you.
By all means.
Broderick, are you online?
Person while we're waiting. Another, somebody else from the public that would like to speak.
I can speak. I live at 1355 North McLean Boulevard with my wife Federica, 2-year-old twins. And yeah, that property is the one that is looking at being rezoned is directly north of where I live. I have some concerns. I'm here because this rezoning, I think, is incompatible with this location and creates some serious safety concerns. So first, traffic safety, the most critical issue. The lot opens directly onto McLean Boulevard at a curve immediately adjacent to 13th Street stoplight. And this is already a challenging intersection. And adding 4 to 5 units means 8 to 10 vehicles entering, exiting multiple times a day, and creating a serious collision risk. It was stated that, hey, there's these homes on the north, on 13th, that are already there, and they've been there without issues. But I'd also like to point out that the road that is adjacent to is the one going, that the direction that the inlet is adjacent to is going towards the stoplight, where the one that this is adjacent to is going away from the stoplight. And when you have people turning left from 13th onto southbound McLean, they have minimal reaction time when you have somebody pulling out of that lot. That exists when this is a single family home, but when you increase it to 8 to 10 vehicles, increasing congestion, having all those setback requirements, can create a more serious issue, especially if it gets congested enough that it forces residents to back out of the lot instead of pulling out directly forward. So Boulder has planned for 4 units, but the zoning allows for 5. Each additional unit multiplies the traffic risk at an already dangerous location. So second is the spatial constraints. This lot is surrounded on 3 sides by fenced properties, with the only access being directly onto that dangerous intersection or close to it. I don't think this configuration provides adequate space for safe parking, vehicle maneuvering, and circulation that 4 to 5 units would generate. And without that proper pull-through parking design, again, backing out, I think this could also create some overflow parking issues that could spill into neighborhood streets and into neighboring properties. So third concern I have is the impact on neighboring families. So our bedrooms are on that north wall, less than 10 feet from the property line. 5 families instead of just one means significantly more noise from vehicles, activity, daily comings and goings, affecting our toddler's sleep and our quality of life. And then you have the family at 1386 North Manisa, which would be surrounded on multifamily complexes on two sides of their home, which would compound their privacy and noise concerns. So I understand Wichita has a housing shortage, but I think that adding units in the wrong location at a dangerous intersection on a lot with inadequate access is not good and can create risks for future tenants and existing neighbors alike. So my request is to keep this lot zoned for a single family residential use, which matches the historic character and safety requirements of the location. And, but if the board is inclined towards some density increase, a single duplex would be acceptable as a compromise. But if multifamily is still approved despite these concerns, I'd like to request some conditions. Pull-through parking design, so no vehicles back out onto McLean. Curbside waste collection, so garbage trucks don't back up onto the road, which the garbage trucks would be an even bigger issue than your standard car, since it's a much bigger and slower moving vehicle. And I'd like to request a masonry wall between the multifamily and single family property for noise reduction and privacy. It's not about blocking housing, it's about appropriate housing in appropriate locations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I can speak at this time.
Move on to the next one while we're waiting. Anyone else like to speak?
Yeah.
My name is Leo. 1886 North Manisa. I'm right behind. I have an issue with the apartments that are next to me. They're flooding my property. The city approved for everything to be higher, so lower than the property next to me. And now I'm gonna be surrounded by all these. And the garbage that is by Melissa. I have so much garbage flying onto my property. It hangs onto my bushes, my driveway, my cars, every day. That is my concern. I would also want a masonry block wall.
Thank you. Speakers? Can you raise your hand if you're here for this property?
I'm not take very much of your time. Appreciate your time. 1863 North Manisa Drive, and that's this position right there. And I did receive the official letter because I'm 200 feet from that. I just moved into the neighborhood last August, and I didn't realize I knew those apartments were there. Okay, they're there, but I didn't realize that silly me, I didn't realize that that's something that could happen, is that you could change from single family to multi. I wasn't very educated in that, but I am now. I love that little neighborhood. I love Indian Hills. I love the 50s and 60s that they were built one level, and their families. And I am here really not only to support myself, but all the young families in the neighborhood. Because, it's always nice to have young people in the neighborhood when our neighborhood is pretty established. I'll just say that.
I'm online.
So really, I'm just asking, we did go to the MAPC. Oh, I think I got that right. And basically they did approve the multifamily, so we were pretty down on that. But we do already have protest petitions filed at the city clerk's, and
All of them.
like, so everyone in our neighborhood, all of the neighborhood, not just the ones who received letters, went ahead and filed those petitions. And like I said, they are at the city clerk right now. So I just would like your consideration not to change from a single family, not to change it to a multifamily. And I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Do you know how many letters total that?
I was trying to think, let's see. We can count that.
I don't know how many.
Probably 15?
No, the letters.
Oh, the letters or the petitions? Oh, the petitions.
How many people responded negatively?
Well, everybody in that edition. So let's count. I don't know. Is that what, Heather? How many protest petitions
We have 15
15.
on Manisa Street. And then Daniel's on McLean.
Oh, yeah, Daniel is right, by the way.
I think,
This is Daniel's.
I think the neighbor below me is planning on
south.
filing. I'll remind them that the deadline is Thursday, and then the neighbor just south of them also did file.
And then all of these neighbors and all, everybody. So
Which is more than we usually get.
so anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
This applicant online, he was able to unmute, so. Mr. Gray, if you want to go ahead and speak now?
Oh, yeah, can you hear me?
Sir?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask the committee to go ahead and approve the rezone change. The site plan and the layout for the lots are not 2 stories. They're all single family in conformance with the neighborhood architecture.
Okay, hold on just a moment, sir. Let me go ahead and adjust the mic real quick.
All right,
If you
give
need
it one more
better-
try.
Okay,
Sir,
thank
go
you.
ahead. All right, we gotcha.
All right, yep. Just wanted to, I've been here, I just couldn't get on, had some technical issues, but as stated before, I asked the committee to approve the zone change. We are in conformance with the zone change in every area. The neighbors, I do understand the concerns, and we did go back and adjust the layout for the lot is not a 2-story, it's a current ranch style, single levels, 1 story. And parking isn't an issue for the amount of spaces that we're using. Everybody have 2 spaces, and you'll be able to turn around, pull back out onto the Meridian McLean area. There won't be any traffic problems, and the trash problem will not be an issue. Privacy, there's fences all the way around the structures, and there'll be fences in the front. So there will be no issue with trash, privacy, or parking. And it is a 1-story and not a 2-story. So I do ask the committee to approve. Again, we're in
single story, and single story, and 8 parking spaces. Is that correct? Well, I think
Sir, that was a question for you.
Yes. Yes.
Can you repeat the question?
so it's one single level building with 4 units and 8 parking spots, correct?
I didn't hear the question. Can you repeat the question?
Ask if it's a quad one.
Sorry.
Single level building with 4 parking
No, it's, I'm sorry, if you can hear me, it's two duplexes, one story, 2 buildings, not a single building. In one level. So again, we asked the committee to approve this change. It is in conformance. My time back to the speaker. Thank you. If that was a question about a gable roof, they are gable roof, matching the neighborhoods with brick fronts or brick veneer fronts and ranch styles. That's the neighborhood. Thank you. Thank you. If no other questions, I'll release my time back to the speaker. Thank you.
We don't need to release your time, we need to talk to you. Ask him if there's other properties that he built in the area.
One level.
We've
seen the 2 levels.
Yeah,
But does he have any 1 level steps?
yeah, that's, if we can get that fixed to the landlord.
Do we have similar properties in the area? Not of the 1 stories, of the 2 stories. The 1 stories are in conformance with the neighborhood, and we don't have any 1 stories in the area, only 2 stories. Thank you, committee, for your time.
Heather Harrison, 1359 North Mesa Drive. I guess I kind of was ringleader on the petition. This does not directly affect me, but we have a very, very close-knit neighborhood. It is a neighborhood. This is shortest street in Wichita. So, there's 15 houses. We have 100% of people completing the petition. I did go door to door, and I just shared with people and said, this is what is gonna happen. This is what, because not everybody received the letter.
I do believe that everybody who received the letter have, they're at 100%, I believe. I am not sure, and maybe when I get done here, somebody can explain to me about the apartments. Do they count in the petition for real property? So.
Percentage by land area, so the land area of the apartments would count towards towards the threshold. And 20% of the land area within 200 feet needs to have it for that.
Right, we were just saying the property owner receives it.
Okay, so I was just thinking on, please, we're here in support for our neighbors that are within that 200. And we do a lot together as a neighborhood.
How would you feel about two duplexes?
It's not really my call.
Or, I'm sorry, one duplex that was, maybe each unit was 2 bedrooms.
What I saw from the ones that we drove by, that Gray and Sons had built, they were 2 stories. They did not look super high quality. Our houses are beautiful. They're beautiful. We wait for these to come open, and they're gone that fast. What I fear is, what if another one gets, something happens? Is it gonna set a precedent that they can drop another duplexes into the residential neighborhood? I understand housing's a problem. I don't really know. I would prefer it to stay single family. That would fit the area.
Well, a single duplex would.
What I also am concerned about is like with Leo and the chicken coops that are there, they have no guttering on them. They flood his backyard, and now he's gonna have runoff from a paved parking lot that's gonna flood Daniel's yard and Leo's yard and the Beckham box. It's just, it makes no sense. I understand that there is a housing need, but in a residential neighborhood, we want it to stay single family.
There's no downspouts and no through.
There's no gutter. And they come right off and go right to his backyard.
And they go, my garage is like water.
Ours are warm houses. Yes, I heard you say, yes, they're beautiful. Okay.
My name is Amy Stevens. I live at 1369 Minnesota. I've lived there for 30 years. As they mentioned, our neighborhood is beautiful, mid-century homes, lots of beautiful architectural details. These aren't little homes that everyone looks exactly the same. They all look unique and beautiful. We have a lot of pride in our neighborhood. And unfortunately, what we've been enduring over the last several years is a lot of strife in our neighborhood. We have that. It's a lot where this is proposed to go, and a lot of bad things happen. We have a lot of this going on at the same time that these apartments are being constructed. There's been a lot of difficulty in our experience with these properties has not been good. Not been good neighbors to us. The apartments that came in at one point were trying to illegally cut and exit onto Minnesota. They did not have the legal authority to do so. Thank heavens Maggie came over and we contacted her and came to our defense on that. So consistently, we've not had a and it feels like we are on a slippery slope where our neighborhood is being taken advantage of. This beautiful community that we have, these dominoes are starting to fall with these properties. And people are trying to come in and take these and change them. It's a beautiful area. This is a single family home.
and he brought us back home due to neglect and things that we're not taking care of properly. And we don't want to see this continue. We don't want this to keep growing as a problem in this beautiful area. Just be taken piece by piece by piece. So we're asking you.
Only gonna get worse.
Yeah, hold on, let me, mute him real quick. Go ahead.
I don't have anything new to add. We love our neighborhood. We went for a walk this morning, my partner and I snapped some pictures of our street. And this is just beautiful. And I'm just asking you to, please, if indeed Mr. Gray has to move forward with this, I'm not terribly opposed to a duplex one level. Appreciate y'all letting us come and voice our concerns and you're serving on this board, I know that it's often a thankless job. Appreciate it. Thank you.
For everybody, I have to get my 2 cents in. You all are speaking on things like this. This is something that I've been addressing. When these developers and people want to build something, I think that it's best before they bring it to the DAB, before it comes to city council to have any kind of approval. They need to show what they want to build to the public, not be able to get it passed here, make it city council, and then show what they want to do to that city council and get it approved. Because how do we know what it is? And then it makes it hard for people that live in the neighborhoods when they build whatever they want and it gets approved. They're getting all their 2 cents in of how they want to live there. They got to deal with it. I got to deal with it now because I've had people in those apartments be bad, loud, and it's like, I'm trying to see, but it's like, now they change owners, so you can't get a hold of them. Homeowners should have a whole lot more rights to what gets built around their homes. People move to Wichita because it's affordable, beautiful here. And listen to them. But I want to say that we need to make a rule with that, and I don't know how to start that, so that's why I'm asking you. We need to make that a rule for these guys, because they shouldn't be able to not show what they're building, but they get it approved. Thank you.
You're right. Corey Stevens, live at 1369 Vanessa, right up there, right? Yep, that's me. There's been a member of my family in that house since 1956. My grandfather bought it, and then my father and sisters, and now myself and my wife and her family raised 3 kids in that house. With that vacant lot that you see the nice lean-tos on, it was ugly. But you also mentioned, you know what, groundwater seeped in, so you didn't have it run off. I have to, I take a look out my front door every single morning, and I see the lean-tos, the trash can. Maggie had to pick up their trash, which is great, but, you know, pick the guys who actually own the place. But I appreciate you doing that, thank you. Because we've had when people dump. Okay, I think what our neighbors are concerned about with this new development is the 40s, and that, I'm not sure, you can tell the lean-tos, I mean, they're like that far away from the property line, Leo's property line. Groundwater rushes in, and I don't understand how it got approved for it not to be graded, so at least went out somewhere, but not into his backyard. And that's crap, and that's not right. And so I'm concerned for Leo, and it's concerned for Daniel, who lives right here, but for the Deffenbaugh, how is this gonna drain? And how's it graded? You know, I mean, is it gonna be properly graded before it goes out to McLean? It's interesting, I think the first time we looked at them, at these new places, we thought they were gonna be 2 stories, like the lean-tos, and which are great, by the way. Leo has exactly 0 privacy in his backyard. So at least that's positive. I want you guys to think about, you know, if it's a single story, yes, not too bad. Agreeable. I don't know 40 units, if that property is big enough for 40 units. There was a big house that was there, it was a beautiful house, had mahogany interior and everything. So, I want y'all to think about, you know, us as a community, I've lived there since 1992. I've watched a lot of things come and go, beautiful, my neighbors take such good care of their places, and I want this to be the same. I want this to be held to the same standard. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll bring it back to.
No reflection on the individual. And the zoning change is approved, all bets are off. I think it's whatever fits that zoning requirement and meets the building standards, the building codes, they'll get the building. It's not restricted to what we've verbally heard. I guess I'm concerned about taking that more than preliminary value. I think it's. We don't often have this much participation from people who right there. Or it's later, right? It's not in. And all the work that has occurred in McLean, and we've heard about all the reasoning for 3-lane roads versus 4-lane or 5. And all of that seems to speak to a character of an area that is really more kind of residentially area. You know, it doesn't seem to be, so, I mean, I don't know. Go by this, you know. I guess along with this, one of the things that typically shows up in the presentation material as justification is a financial impact to the owner. And my tip of that is, you bought the property, you probably should have a zoning change for what put that forward in purchase. So that's not gonna wait real good. Removal of restrictions will definitely affect nearby property, and I feel like we've heard over and over and over tonight about. And I guess it's supposed to be not based in, could be based in fact, not here, okay? I think drainage is a fact, trash is a fact, traffic is a fact, noise is a fact,
Stuff down and stuff talking and my neighborhood that I live as well. And so I think there's a lot of similar problems on the outskirts of where I live, although they have the great thing. But it's plain where that is not often. You have to one level with the front driveway, so that's the brick that you do. And then so I've seen in some of those, they're great actually as well. So it's not flooding back to that. But if you chunk the land, just keep sitting in. But also, I'm not a big fan of.
That they have, these were not doing people like out. They don't want to do anything on the site. I don't think that's really sensible. Right, cool, thank you so much for thinking of that. So let us know what's going on there. Is there? Is there anything about the?
From a planning perspective though, maybe the building and construction department, 660-1840.
That rolled off pretty. I hear a lot of people. That section and then well, and I certainly understand that. And then here's stuff, we open to make a good place, and that we kind of respect the property owner too. But then we don't want the DAP to build these buildings. So as a DAP, we not. We would prefer if people bring a site plan and, you know, some sort of a rendering what this might look like in the future, even if it's not gonna be held to that, but just an idea would be great, but also. I think our job is to approve it, not to repose what it might be, what might be acceptable. So, but I'm gonna agree with Zach, that. No, we don't approve of this. These are the reasons why. Come back with something that your neighbors are gonna be happy. Right, you don't have to please us, you need to please them. Who's got the power? Right, and I agree that this is also probably not a DAB job, but I think it's maybe more of a neighbor job, is to say. Aids of this for their, for the builder and developer to facilitate a conversation with the persons and people who are going to be directly affected so that they can come together maybe more collaboratively. I don't know, like. Seems like you all are not unrealistic and would entertain conversation. And
Okay, I'm in this.
Did anybody, from the neighborhood talk to the applicant or?
We talked to him before we went to the first meeting, and he gave us the two addresses, we drove by them, one of them was for, both of them were 2 stories. It's kind of Colorado, in my opinion, okay? The one on Sedgwick Street, they did put a rock front on it, but those were purchased, those were not residents. He built those and sold them. And they were more attractive than the one on, it's just almost directly across the old Metro High School. But he changed his tune now to it's a 1-story because we expressed concerns at the last meeting. And we were like, lack of privacy, lack of safety, blah, blah, blah. And now we're hearing that he is, I don't know whether it's smoke and mirrors or we're just getting, we've seen that. We did see those examples, but we don't know.
No, the maximum height, I believe, should be accepted, is 45 feet. But subject to compatibility standards, so it may be shorter because of the single family houses that are adjacent. They can't go lower than 35 feet.
I'd like to, make a motion that you deny.
Who was the second? I'm sorry. Brian, thank you. 0.
Okay, moving right along.
It didn't kill her. No, we
No,
didn't.
it does.
Yeah.
Which means 2 noes and a die.
Yeah.
They're already been done.
Well, and you
One
can go,
more.
you can go speak to the city council. Yeah, I got that.
Okay, oh, yeah, that's right. Unfortunately.
Okay, moving on to conditional use 2025-012. The applicant for this case is requesting a conditional use to allow accessory apartments. It's a little bit under 1.5 acres in size, and it's located at 1469 North Perry Avenue. Currently developed with a single family dwelling, a pool, and a storage shed. And they're requesting this conditional use in order to construct a detached garage with an attached dwelling unit. The subject site previously had a legal non-conforming accessory apartment located on the property. The applicant intends to construct a new accessory structure that will feature a 60-foot by 19-foot living area and a 71-foot by 20-foot attached garage. The new structure would be situated 6 feet from the interior or south property line. They require 1 parking space for a temporary apartment and 1 space for a single family residence. It's almost 1.5 acres in size, so it has more than enough room to accommodate what they are requesting. I'm going to skip ahead here. The context of the neighborhood is low density residential. Properties to the north, south, and east are going single family and developed with single family dwellings, and to the west is the county border. There are no zoning cases associated with the subject site. And the proposed use is in conformance with the community acceptance plan. The future growth concept map identifies site as appropriate for residential uses. And it is in conformance with the Wichita Business for People plan based on the strategies intended to help guide the community interactions and create walkable places within Wichita. Staff is recommending approval of a conditional use subject to the conditions listed in your staff report. And this is based on the golden factors again, which are listed in your staff report. Are there any comments on the requested conditional use? And as part of the application, they did Yes, provided site photos. And with that, I will stand for any questions.
Well, I have a comment. I live on this block. This across the street from me. And these houses go back up to the river. And I can't see that there would be.
Main reason I'm building it is my widowed father is gonna move into it, so I'm building it, zero entry, 36-inch wide door, pocket doors. And in addition, my wife's got in that, so I'm basically building it for a family. I don't let too much down.
Yes, there is a conversation happening right now. It's not set in stone yet. It still has to be a little more, but we are shifting towards having them permitted by right, subject to an administrative approval. So it's the same process as it is for short-term rentals. It doesn't come down unless more than 50% of users protest it.
From the driveway, it was basically back to the road.
Who was the second? I'm sorry. Josh, got it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any questions, comments, updates? We have this little flyer. We would love for you guys to participate. We're working on the park master plan. QR code will take you there and give you a few minutes. Next DAB meeting is March the 9th. And there are some flyers to sign up to get free tax preparation if that's something that you need help with. Talk to them.
One small thing is there is a newish organization called ICT Alerta that is helping follow up on folks who are picked up by their local immigration and customs enforcement agents. They are hosting trainings, I think Wednesday 15th, Wednesday 22nd, and we need more volunteers in our neck of the woods, in El Pueblo and Nomar, to follow up with neighbors who may have seen something and can identify folks who are being picked up.
What's the name of the
ICT Alerta.
Like UMC on Thursday nights, for folks who want to participate. You don't have to bring anything, so it's also to augment folks who have been affected by reduction in food aid assistance. Participation, having a time, so everybody's gonna have
also tomorrow, we have an our council meeting is the evening at 6 o'clock, so. Guys, tune in. Yes,
Any brief update on the water plant?
everything is, being discussed and worked out. I think you probably received the latest from Gary, which he's
It's been a while.
shared, on the.